Joining us, Jeff Adachi, San Francisco public defender. So, welcome to the program. Good to have you with us.
Morning, Stuart.
Now, I believe that you're leading the charge for reform of the state worker pension system, specifically asking state workers to contribute more to their own pensions. Have I got it right?
Well, that's right. Here in San Francisco, we're spending $1.2 billion. That's one out of every 5 tax dollars on city employee pensions and health care costs. That's 28 times more than what we spend on fixing our streets. So we're facing a $500 million deficit next year. This is the first year there's no summer school for kids. And we're seeing budgets slashed. I run the public defender's office. We provide representation for poor people who can't afford lawyers. And it's getting to a point, year after year, we're getting cut, and we can't do our jobs anymore. Well, and so this is a huge problem here in San Francisco and other counties around the state.
Oh, yes, sir. We've been covering this. I mean, there is outrage across the state, indeed across the nation. It's not just outrage, it's real concern about the viability of local finance. But what I'm getting at is you're asking workers who currently work for the state to contribute to their pensions. That's really all you're asking for, right? You're not asking for a cut in the payments that are going out. You're asking for a bigger contribution of those currently employed. That's it.
Right, right. This proposal would ask the employees of San Francisco, not the state, but San Francisco, to contribute to the pension. Currently, half of city employees don't pay anything towards their pension. This requires employees to just contribute 9 to 10% into the pension. Now, remember that government employees, they receive a guaranteed pension upon their retirement. If you're a police officer, you get 90% of your last year's salary for the rest of your life, and you can retire at 55. We had a police officer this year who made $516,000 last year, and his pension upon his retirement is going to be something like $250,000 a year. Hey, look, that's not a pension, that's a trust fund. That's $5 million for the rest of his life.
But there's nothing you could do about that. You can't take that back, or can you? Are you going to make an effort to take that kind of pension back?
Well, what's going to happen is that eventually this pension system is going to go bankrupt unless we take some proactive action. And that's what we're proposing, is that very simply that people should contribute towards their pensions.
Now, have you been attacked? You're making this proposal. You're leading this charge. Have you been attacked personally because of this?
I'm the only elected official in San Francisco that is supporting this, because, quite frankly, everybody else is afraid. They don't want to upset the apple cart. They don't want the union leaders to get upset. And yes, you know, there's been all kinds of attacks on this very common sense measure. And I'm trying to reach out to fellow government employees to say, hey, you know, you can't strangle the goose that lays the golden egg. This is something that you need to do if you want to sustain the pension fund.
Now, are they attacks on you politically, or have they come to your house, or have they attacked you personally in some way? What kind of attacks have you received?
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's been, you know, everybody says, yes, you know, we want police officers and firefighters. And, you know, the point here is that unless we do something to sustain this pension fund, you know, we're not going to have a pension fund. That's the point I've been trying to make. And they'll come back and attack me personally, everything from, you know, where do you live, how much do you make, et cetera. But, you know, it's all about the pension fund and this pension problem. And unless we take action, you know, we're going to wind up like some of these counties that are going bankrupt. And that's the message I'm trying to get across.
A real fast last question, if I may. In Bell, California, just near Los Angeles, as you know, there's a local revolt against lavish pay for the town officials. I'm calling it a local grassroots revolt. Any sign of something very similar in your Northern California, San Francisco?
Well, we went out and got 77,000 signatures to put this on the ballot. And so I think that speaks volumes for how people feel. Okay. And, you know, certainly what happened in Bell is an extreme case, but people are looking at that and they're understanding that, you know, to be a public servant should mean serving the public, not just serving yourself.
Jeff Adachi, we thank you very much for joining us, sir. We appreciate you being on the show. Thank you, sir.